Voters will choose who they want to serve out the remaining 3 years of Bob Filner's term in the November 19th special election. Among the 10 candidates in the race, 4 have above 10% voter support, according to a recent 10 News poll, including my guest, San Diego City Councilman Kevin Faulconer. Kevin, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Now, you represented District 2 on the City Council. You have since 2006. Yeah. Why do you want to be mayor?
You know, I have the experience of turning our city around and the drive and the desire to get us back on track. It's really that simple. And having been a part of the turnaround, we remember where our city was so many years ago, Enron by the sea, not providing neighborhood services because of our financial condition. I'd led the effort to make some very strong and tough decisions that have gotten our city in a much better place, where we now have the ability to invest those dollars back into our neighborhoods. So it's a combination of experience, but also I think one of the biggest strengths that I bring to this race is my ability to work with all folks on either side of the aisle. And that's what I'm going to bring to the position as mayor.
If you were elected, what would your top 3 policy priorities be?
Yeah, streets and infrastructure on streets and sidewalks, fixing our sewer lines, investing those dollars back into our libraries and our parks. That's extremely important. And as we come out of the recession and making these big financial changes, we have the ability to do that. Public safety, a quick second, with particularly our police officers and recruitment and retention. And thirdly, something I feel very strong about, still cutting government waste so we can reinvest those dollars back into our neighborhoods.
We're going to come back to the neighborhood situation, but I want to ask you this. You have a number of endorsements, including San Diego County's Republican Party, the Chamber of Commerce, and former Mayor Jerry Sanders. There's been some reports that you went to this meeting and you were, quote, selected for mayor by some of the city's biggest downtown interests, including UT San Diego's owner, Doug Manchester. Tell us about that meeting. Did they select you? Are you a downtown man?
Every candidate selects themselves, and groups and organizations have meetings all the time. Who do they want? Who do they not want? But ultimately, it comes down, obviously, to the individual. And I'm proud of my record. And I'm proud to have the support. You mentioned Jerry Sanders. I worked side by side with Jerry Sanders throughout some of the very most darkest, difficult days of our city when we had to make tough decisions financially to get us back on track. And one of my messages now is we can't afford to go backward. I will not allow the city to go backwards and repeat some of those financial mistakes of the past. So I'm happy to have the mayor's support. I know how important it is that we have a thriving economy. So small businesses, large businesses, I think it's one of the reasons that we need to get back on track for the city.
The other mayoral candidates, the 3 that I've talked to, told me that they are very pro-neighborhood and want to shift the focus from downtown to other communities. How would you balance downtown interest and neighborhood interest?
And as somebody who's been on the council who's been fortunate enough to represent some fantastic neighborhoods in the city, I know firsthand how critically important it is that we do have those dollars in our neighborhood services, which is why I've been fighting so hard for street repair, why I've been fighting so hard for police officer recruitment and retention. Whether you live in San Ysidro or Rancho Bernardo, we deserve safe neighborhoods, and the city has to have the political will to make those decisions to put those dollars back in. I've done that as chairman of the audit committee. I've been a leader on those efforts of reform, and that's one of the things that as mayor I'm going to ensure that we continue to do, because you can't have neighborhood services if you don't have the dollars to invest them.
You're a strong supporter of the convention center expansion. Would you ask taxpayers to pay for any overrun cost?
No, you know, and very strong supporter of the convention center expansion. And one of the great things about it is the funding sources. You're going to have some, the hotels that are most closely affected by that, helping to pay for that facility. I'm going to keep a close eye on that to make sure that it doesn't go over, along with the Port of San Diego. But when you talk about how critically important the convention center is, one of the reasons I'm such a big supporter, it's about 7,000 jobs. It's about attracting more tourism to San Diego. And next to sales tax and property tax, our hotel tax is the 3rd largest source of revenue. The more revenue we get, the more dollars we have to invest back into our neighborhoods. So I'm going to be a close fiscal watchdog on that program, and I've demonstrated that since I've been on the council.
Do you support funding to keep the downtown temporary homeless shelter open year-round? And if you do, where would that money come from?
Yeah, I have, and I've spent most of my, not only the temporary shelter, but a lot of political effort and energy on a full-service connections housing project in downtown, which I championed. And it's not about temporary. It's about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's open now. It's working. We are providing the wraparound services to really get people out of being homeless and then transition them back. And I put a lot into that as well as the community, and I'm a strong supporter of that.
Well, you are among at least three top candidates that are Democrats. You were running for this, you're a Republican, but you're in that race going up against the Democrats here. Do you think you need Democratic support to win this as a Republican?
Yeah, you need all support, absolutely. I mean, I've been on the council for 7 years, and I think what I'm best known for is the guy that brings people together to find solutions. No Democrat or Republican way to fix a street. It's about common sense. And that's what I've been known on the council. I work very closely with all of my colleagues, particularly our council president and our interim mayor, Todd Gloria. It's about finding solutions that work for San Diegans. And that's what we need right now in the city, is somebody that has a demonstrated ability to bring people together. I'm not known as being flashy or a grandstander, but I think I'm known as bringing common sense solutions.
All right, we need to wrap it there. San Diego City Councilman and mayoral candidate Kevin Faulconer, thank you.
Great to see you.